there is a line that has to be drawn between pranking, trolling, and just being a straight fucking menace to society. Today we need to talk about a situation that took place in Walmart located in Arizona, where we have a content creator from TikTok by the name of Charles Smith, who has recently turned himself into local authorities after spraying bug off or bed bug pesticide on produce in Walmart. We're gonna dive more into this story because this is an ongoing trend that's been going on for a couple years now. I would say definitely like the year or two before the pandemic, where you have people that will go to a supermarket or Walmart or Target, wherever, and they would mess with whatever products that are on the shelves. We're going to touch on that later on, but first, let's get right into this story because this story really got me shaking my head and just kind of raised my blood pressure a little bit. So Charles Smith is a TikToker who's well known on the platform for just trolling people. That's all his content consists of. He does pranks, he does trolls, he just makes people's lives a living hell and just makes it as inconvenient as possible for the sake of clout. He went to a Walmart, he grabbed a can of like bed bug spray, we'll just call it pesticide because that's exactly what it is, and he took it upon himself for the sake of content to take the pesticide and spray it on fruits and vegetables. He sprayed it on a whole bunch of produce in the Walmart and he left. But then later on, he started getting a lot of negative feedback, or at least critical feedback from his fans. He goes back to correct his mistake and he tries to collect all this stuff. I'm gonna get into the article here because the article will dive in on this a little bit. So it says here, in a now deleted TikTok video, Smith filmed himself picking up pesticide can and spraying it across the food. Police added court documents obtained by People state that Smith then left the store and posted the video. Once he left, he began seeing comments online saying how horrible the act was, and he decided to return it and collect the items. Now, even though he did go back to collect the items that he sprayed, which I doubt he got all of them, the police was investigating the whole matter, and they were saying the time between him spraying the food with pesticide and him coming back to collect that same food was more than enough time for customers to browse for the same produce that he sprayed and pick some of that food up for themselves to consume. It kind of strikes me that he didn't even have any sort of thought process behind that. He just made content. He walked into a Walmart and thought this would be an awesome content of just trolling people another day, just pranking or trolling, making people's lives as miserable as possible, just taking pesticide, literal poison, mind you, and spraying it on food that people are going to buy with their own money and they're going to eat it when they get home. It's like that thought process did not occur to him. He had to upload the video after the fact, and for him to get critical feedback from the platform itself, for him to sit here and be like, oh, maybe I did make a mistake, let me go back and correct it. Like, it's already too late. You already jeopardized the safety and health of people around you. Like, you getting food back or trying to collect them is not going to do anything. Not to mention now, you also committed theft. I'm not sure if he really just took the food and just left with the food without making any purchases, but he is being charged with theft along with other charges, which we will get into shortly. So after he did what he did, there was reports on the whole situation. The police was investigating. Charles Smith then turned himself into local authorities after they caught wind of what happened. Investigators added that during the interview with police, Smith, on quote, admitted to the theft and spraying of the pesticide. Smith now faces charges of criminal damage, endangerment, and theft, all misdemeanors, as well as introducing poison, which is a Class 6 felony or the least severe of felony charges in Arizona. Court records from the case state that Smith called himself a troll and that he often posts provocative pranks that are meant to cause controversy and uproar. Smith told police he makes as much as $10,000 a month by being a troll on social media. That money may now be spent on legal fees and his $25,000 bond. It's kind of sad that we live in a world where there are people that, or even platforms that kind of incentivize this kind of behavior. If we were to imagine a time and place where people didn't critique him for what he did after spraying pesticide on produce, he would have probably have gotten away with it, and he would have made money off of that content as well, which is a very sad thing when you think about it. Now, with the rise of social media, we've had many people that are doing pranks and trolling, and now they're either doing it for clout and or making money off of it, which I think is just really stupid. It's really scummy. I will never understand it. I will never understand why people like that kind of content. They like the idea or the scenario of just making people's lives just inconvenient, just people minding their own business. They don't want to be in anybody's way, and there's that one content creator that just has to fuck it up for everybody in some way, shape, or form. And with that said, this isn't the first time this has happened. Again, this has happened several years ago. You probably remember about the Bluebell Liquor. The Bluebell Liquor was the chick, you probably remember her face here. She was like the most hated woman of the week, where she went out of her way to go to a supermarket. I don't know if it's Target or Walmart or whatever supermarket, and she grabbed a Bluebell ice cream, she licked it, and then proceeded to put the ice cream back into shelves for customers to unknowingly buy, not knowing that the ice cream itself was licked. Roughly like a few months later, we had another individual that will go out of their way to go to the oral hygiene aisle, grab a bottle of Listerine, gargle it, and spit it back into the Listerine bottle, only to put it back on the shelf as well. And then finally later on, you had a gentleman that was basically the copycat of the Bluebell Liquor, who went out of his way yet again to lick a Bluebell ice cream, except he was arrested and he was put in jail for 30 days after his sentencing. And the only common denominator with all of these content creators is that they do it for clout or for money. And it's pretty crazy that they do this at the expense of other people's health and safety. And it's even more pathetic that people will label this as like a prank, or it's just joking, or it's just, oh, it's just a troll. No, these things it's not a good thing. Like, there are people that will watch this and think that this is okay. They'll see the results of these things and they're gonna try to copy what that influencer or that content creator is doing. And now you have this instance with Charles Smith that wanted to push the envelope, arguably speaking, and say, hey, I'm gonna take pesticide, which is basically poison, and I'm gonna spray it on food. And again, had social media not criticized him for what he did after he posted the video on his TikTok, he probably would have not gone back to Walmart to claim the food that he sprayed. And before anybody comes out of left field saying like, well, you're saying to not give him attention, but you're making a video that would basically give him attention anyway, so what's the point of this video? Like, what does that make you? You pathetic little ant. This is not the point of, hey, please, please, please stop giving him attention because he's making so much money off of just hurting people around him. That's not the point of the video. The point of the video is that a lot of times people call these things pranks, or they call this thing like trolling when it's really not. The last time I checked, trolling and pranking doesn't involve inflicting harm on people or putting people's health at risk. And this is what Charles Smith did. And you have many people before him that did the same thing. I don't care if they're doing it for clout. I don't care if they're doing it for money. That information is irrelevant. The point is that we are having this discussion to shed light on the fact that this trend is still going on. These things are not pranks. There are literal crimes, and these people should be held accountable for these crimes. And that's basically it. Like, this is not a hot take at all. It's not like a aha gotcha moment because you're talking about it, so you're giving him attention. It's okay to have these kinds of discussions if it's productive, if it's critical, if it's, hey, listen, this is actually a bad thing. People that do this thing should be held accountable for this said thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with having that discussion. That's not giving the person attention. If this video means giving the person attention, so be it, because I hope the attention that they get is negative. I hope that they don't make more content again after this and they learn their lesson and they go back doing things that doesn't involve hurting people around them. Again, I don't think that is a hot take to have. As I said earlier in the video, there has to be a difference between trolling, pranking, and just being a fucking menace to people around you. If it comes to me trolling, it would be more so me just saying like, hey, I love my pineapples on pizza. I don't like pineapples on pizza, if I'm gonna be quite honest with you. But I just do it just to get a rise out of people. Because I know how many people get triggered over the idea of pineapple on pizza. And just trying to get a rise out of them. That is trolling. If it was a prank, I would be like, hey, let's go shoot some hoops. Yo, grab that basketball for me real quick. You're like, alright, let's play some basketball. I'm about to break your ankles, progeny. You grab the basketball and oh my god, there's frosting on your hands. What the fuck is going on? Oh my god, turns out the basketball is actually cake. That is a prank. And then there's just being a fucking asshole. Like, say we're both roommates and you walk in on me in the kitchen and you see me taking pesticide and spraying it all on the food that you have with your name on it in the fridge, and you're like, what the fuck? Why are you spraying bug spray on my food? And me telling you, no, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. That is not a prank. That is not a troll. Like, there is a huge difference between these things. And there are people out there that are saying, yeah, it's just a prank. What's the harm in that? Like, that is borderline psychopathic. But anyways, that's just really all I wanted to talk about. I just ranted a little bit and everything. But I think shit like this is just really tiring. And I'm just so annoyed that this trend is still going on of just pranksters just making people's lives inconvenient and just trying to push the envelope almost every day if it means getting clout or just making some extra cash from their platforms of choice. But until then, y'all, that's really all I have for y'all. Peace.